Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
Where are we today?
Well, we are in our respective apartments, but to be fair, we did visit the Lone Star over the weekend for a socially distanced, well, 2 beers. We had 2 beers.
Yep. That was as far as we were allowed to have.
So home. That's where we
That's where
are.
we are. Is where we are back at. Yeah. Yeah. So, what did we watch this time?
We watched, and I was sure to watch the correct film this week, unlike last week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we watched the 1983
Mm-hmm.
vampire film, The Hunger,
Mm-hmm.
directed by Tony Scott, starring Susan Sarandon, David Bowie, and Catherine Deneuve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's completely accurate. And why did you choose that movie? Because this was your pick.
Um, so I love Catherine Deneuve. I do not like David Bowie. I knew of the film's existence, and so I was always kind of wanted to watch it, but David Bowie held me back. But then I read a headline like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that they're doing a remake with Jennifer Lawrence. And I thought, well, might as well watch the original now since I know I'm going to watch that version.
Who is going to be directing that with Jennifer Lawrence?
I don't know. I just read the headline and I was like, well, I know what we're doing on the podcast.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised because the Hunger Games, that is the main thing that comes up when you look for the hunger, is actually
Oh,
with Jennifer
gosh.
Lawrence.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if I misunderstood the headline and they were like remaking the Hunger Games?
I don't know. I don't know, man. But it's like, I'm just telling you. It's like if I look for the hunger Jennifer Lawrence, what it comes up is the Hunger Games.
Oh, I got this. And it's actually on a website that I used to write for news.
Oh,
Yeah.
you used to write for that? Okay.
I used to write for We Got This Covered. There's still interviews I did with musicians and filmmakers on that website.
That's pretty cool.
Um, according to our sources, which are reliable, Jennifer Lawrence is being eyed for one of the two female leads to play a couple. I don't know. I don't have time to read this whole article live on the podcast, but I don't see the director.
Okay. But she's being eyed for playing one of the female. Okay.
Yeah.
Eyed. That's interesting. Okay, so there may or may not be the Hunger remake, and Jennifer Lawrence may or may not be in it.
Correct. But the headline
Okay.
got me thinking. Also, when I was searching to find The Hunger to stream, there's a David Bowie hosted TV show that had at least 2 seasons called The Hunger. And he like introduced basically shorts that were supposed to be erotic and tense. And season 2 is available on Amazon Prime. So maybe next
No.
week we just watch the whole season.
Okay. Okay. No, I'm surprised about that. I never heard about it. So let's
Because
see
I
the
started to
Hunger.
watch it thinking it was The Hunger, and I was like, this doesn't seem right. Where's Catherine Deneuve?
No, no, you're right. I mean, it feels like pretty weird if you actually direct something with the movie name. Yeah, Section Method from the 2000. Huh. Okay, so that's the reason why you pick it up. Let me just do like some summary about it. As you mentioned, it's a vampire movie, but they never say the term vampire. They can walk under the sunlight, so I'm going to be like calling them from this point on vampires. So it's a movie about
Interesting. I didn't
vampires.
notice that.
Yeah, there's a movie about vampires that Catherine Deneuve is a long living vampire, like probably from the Egyptian culture. We don't know when she was born, but at least during the Egypt society, she was there. She was probably like a pharaoh or something like that. Uh, and she has been exchanging lovers because usually her lovers just last for, I don't know, over 200 years or so. And then from one day to the next, they cannot sleep, and feeding doesn't keep them alive. So
It does
they,
keep them alive. It doesn't keep them young, and they
yeah,
have to live
yeah.
as these
So
very old men.
exactly. So that they never really die. They just go into a lethargic, I don't know, decrepit kind of state. So there is a bit of a statement about vampires like beautiful things, beautiful young things, and when they start aging, they no longer love them. So basically, Catherine Deneuve is dating or is partner to David Bowie. And there is a French musician right from the Victorian age, and they live in an amazing, impossible to exist apartment in New York with
Oh, such good apartment porn.
yeah, with a three-floor kind of I say like a distribution, and they have statues from 2,000 years old. That is the kind of thing that I thought is like, okay, if they used to live, if she used to be Egyptian, they live in France for a while too. How did she transport all this kind of stuff without anyone saying anything at all? And she can afford this house.
I mean, I've read several of the books from um, the author who wrote Interview with a Vampire. She wrote like 10 books, and I read like
Oh yeah.
7 of them. And they talk about, and it kind of makes sense, the plot device is that living so long, you start to generate enormous amounts of wealth. So when you want to move
Mm.
somewhere, you just move like a billionaire. And I was
Yeah,
like,
but
okay.
don't you think that someone would be suspicious about like the amount of, like fine art that you own?
Well, I mean, the art in her apartment wasn't crazy.
You know, like some statues that is pretty clear that they are like from the Greek age or even before that.
What do you think is in the guy who killed himself in prison recently? His 10-story mansion in New York?
Sure, but he's not a vampire.
Right, but I'm saying if he owned that much stuff, nobody would bat an eye. She's just a private, reclusive billionaire, millionaire.
Sure, but I also think Einstein is like he's
Epstein.
like yeah, he's a bit more of a public figure. Is that now we're talking about a person that is not like Elon Musk. He's someone that is like extremely secretive. We don't know exactly where their wealth comes from, and is that they're moving from one continent to another. They are moving like their wealth from one place to another, and there is no real source of income at all. It's like it's just all the income that they had before, but it's like it's going to be a bit suspicious, don't you think? I mean,
I don't
this.
think so. I mean, I watched a documentary about like, we know about millionaires and billionaires when they're made because they have to file like documents that make it public. But there's an enormous amount of extremely wealthy people that have just inherited about it and have chosen not to be a Hilton. And we don't know anything about them. They live in these very tight bubbles. They don't leave, their very luxurious lives. I understand what you're saying. For me, it wasn't a thing. I can understand why for you
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
was
No,
a thing.
I get it. I get it. And this is not related to the movie itself. I mean, it was a bit more like a side topic. So, in any case, going back to this, Catherine Deneuve is partner to David Bowie. Their only source of income is basically giving music lessons to a 13-year-old neighbor
From
girl
across the street.
across the street, in New York. Uh, and they like to play music. And as any other good vampire, they will feed from people that they find around. Is that I'm not completely sure if they bite into them because they have some ankh-shaped pendants that they are actually knives that they actually stab people and drink their blood. So there is no like fun per se. There is a point that they actually saw Susan Sarandon later, like with some marks
Yeah, on
on
her
the arm.
inner elbow.
Yeah. But it's like it's not completely clear if they bite each other or not. In any case, David Bowie is suffering from this condition, so he's not sleeping. He can feed, but he's aging pretty quickly. And they randomly find that Susan Sarandon has works in a clinic that they are trying to investigate degenerative cases about monkeys aging really, really fast.
Yeah, and they talk about age being a disease, and they're trying to cure that disease, which is just
Exactly.
very, very convenient that these two worlds merged.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, you have a 200-year-old lover that is aging right now? Maybe I can help you with that. So basically, Catherine Deneuve goes to visit her. There is no resolution there, but then the people we goes to visit her, and she keeps him waiting for 5 hours, and he basically ages 50 years during that time. And now she believes him. And at that point, it's already too late because David Bowie actually feed frenzy. He actually kills the neighborhood girl,
The one
the
friend they had that
the
was so
only
cool. I liked that
friend.
girl.
Yeah, the girl was cool, but she kills her, and it doesn't change the fact that she's aging really, really fast. So basically, he ages too old. He becomes unconscious. Catherine Deneuve packs him in a coffin with the rest of the lovers that she's accumulating and carrying over from one place to another. And then, with the shortest grieving period that I ever seen in my life, she actually started to seduce Susan Sarandon for just being her best level. And that's probably like it actually tries to one of the most explicit lesbian scenes that I could imagine that happened on the 80s.
Yeah, that really surprised me. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
The funny thing is that I watched this movie many years ago, and the only thing that I remember is that David Bowie becomes old really, really fast, and at the end, all the lovers, spoiler alert, comes back to life, haunts Catherine Deneuve, and she falls off the stairs. I
Yeah.
remember that part. So that's basically what happens. Is like she basically tricks Susan Sarandon into being with her, and it becomes like some kind of drag from the perspective that Susan Sarandon doesn't love Catherine Deneuve, but at the same time she needs to be with her.
Right. Yep.
And Susan Sarandon chooses like the eternal death, committing suicide. And then at that point, for some random reason, all the lovers come back, haunt Catherine Deneuve. Catherine Deneuve falls off a cliff, well, falls off of the stairs, and she goes crazy, ages 2,000 years in 30 seconds. Uh, and that's it. No, because actually, then there is like a 30-second scene where Susan Sarandon is shown in a building somewhere that looks like it may be
In
London.
Florence.
Oh, it's Florence?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I
So
couldn't actually confirm it.
all of the lovers, so when they came back to animated, I think that they all fed from her, and so they became young again. So that's why David Bowie and Susan Sarandon were in an apartment together in some European city that I think is Florence.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was London, but I thought it was the Big
It
Ben, but it
could
can
be.
be
I just
anything.
assumed it was Florence because she talks about living in Florence. So
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Honestly, when I watched it the first time, I didn't like it. I
and
probably this was like 15, 20 years ago. And now I didn't like it at all. I thought that this is directed by Tony Scott, that is the brother of Ridley Scott, and I think that probably his most famous movie is Top Gun.
I mean, Man on Fire was a huge deal. Top Gun is iconic, but Man on Fire was a big deal.
Gotcha, I never watched it.
Uh,
Oh, True Romance, that's true.
True Romance, The Taking of Pelham 123 was pretty big.
Yeah.
I personally liked Domino, but I was in love with Keira Knightley at the time. But Spy Game is my favorite.
Holy shit, I
Of,
went to the cinema to watch that. I wasn't a fan.
you're not
With
a
Robert
fan?
Redford? No, I wasn't.
I fucking love that movie.
Okay. I wasn't a fan. I was just thinking, like, why is Robert Redford pretending that he's only 50 when he's 80 already?
And I think The Last Boy Scout was also a big deal. Days of Thunder.
Oh, that was his?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty prolific. Like, he'll never be considered like Ridley Scott, but I mean, he definitely made his mark.
Yeah, I can see that he's pretty 80s, that he has like a good feeling about like classy 80s, you know? Not about like just being over the top 80s, like how do you say The Lost Boys, like Schumacher. But I couldn't connect with the movie. Honestly, it's like I just felt like sometimes it was like really gory, then there were no like really like character development. It's like I understand the perspective of Susan Sarandon is trapping something against her will, and that's why she commits suicide. But then the last 30 seconds, when they actually see this scene on Florence, London, wherever that is, I was just wondering, like, why is that there? And I actually just checked online, and it looks like there was a studio cut that they forced to have a second ending from the perspective of maybe one day making a sequel.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's like even David Bowie and Catherine Deneuve and Susan Sarandon, they say, like, yeah, that ending makes no sense and actually waters down what is like the message of the movie.
Yeah, I think I was frustrated that there were like not the vampire rules, which is what makes vampires fun, right?
Yeah.
So like when Susan Sarandon becomes a vampire and Catherine Deneuve says, "You can never die. Like everything is going to be great. You'll stay forever young," and then immediately she kills herself by stabbing herself in the neck. And it's like that's not how vampires work.
Yeah.
And they could walk in the light, and I couldn't stand how all of the rooms were filled with smoke at all times. They were dark and smoky. Like I just wanted to see the apartment. Just show me the apartment.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I was actually thinking about when I was watching like the cinematography? I was thinking of the Total Eclipse of the Heart video clip,
I don't know it.
the one that is what is the name of the girl?
I mean, I know
But
the song, but I don't know the.
yeah, the band is Bonnie Tyler. So she's basically just walking around a building and everything is like or extremely dark or extremely smoky. So you
Right.
cannot see exactly what is going on in the building. It's like, okay, I'm going to imagine everything else, but it almost feels like there is nothing. This is the dullest warehouse that you could find, and you're just trying to just fool me into thinking there is a house.
I just I understand that he was most likely trying to build atmosphere, but I think mostly he failed. There was no atmosphere in that movie, and um, yeah, the character development. I thought the movie, the main plot was going to start when Susan Sarandon becomes a vampire, but I checked the time on the movie and I was like, "There's 20 minutes left.
Yep.
What? Nothing has happened." And
And
also,
David Bowie,
David Bowie was supposed to be 30 in that. He looked like he was 55 at least.
but I had a feeling that he looked like he was 55 for at least 60 years of his life.
I just so the only review I read was the New York Times, and it was actually pretty favorable in that this was all style and no substance. And he said the clothes are impossibly fashionable, everything is gorgeous, and Tony Scott made those luxury like perfume commercials like David Lynch did.
Yeah.
So like understanding that he's all about visuals and that's fine with me, but I just thought the story was a little stupid. The thing that makes vampires fun was taken away.
Yeah.
The lesbian sex scene was actually refreshing. I was like, wow, that's super
Oh,
progressive
83.
for 1983.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's like I told you about this movie that I was on a couple of months ago that it was called Liquid Sky from 1982. That I was telling you that this is pretty trashy, but at the same time, it's super 80s. You know, it's like it just captures completely the atmosphere. I mean, I didn't live in New York on the 80s, but it's like it feels authentic, it feels refreshing, and it's extremely low budget. It's like this felt like what a studio would do with Liquid Sky. That is like is everything is like just by the book about like, okay, this is going to be edgy but not too much. The only thing that is edgy is seeing Susan Sarandon's tits.
and Catherine Deneuve's tits.
Do they show hers? I thought that it was
I
only
thought so.
okay. Yeah, maybe I cannot tell them apart.
They all look the same to us,
Yeah.
almost. So I guess what I thought, I mean, I had seen the trailer and it was just, why do they keep having that reverb with David Bowie's yell, like his shout? And it's like, what are you going to do?
What I was surprised that I have forgotten is that David Bowie is only there for the for the first 30 minutes of the movie, and then he basically disappears until the end.
I thought what I was getting into was a 1980s version of Only Lovers Left Alive. And you and I feel very differently about Jim Jarmusch, but you cannot deny that that film didn't have a shit ton of style. It was cool.
Yeah,
it was a cool music video.
it was a cool music video, but the thing is that this, even if I think about the 80s, I don't find it cool.
Yeah, that's my point. Is I thought
Yeah.
I was gonna get the 80s version, and this just lacked anything.
Yep.
And Catherine Deneuve is so good; she can carry an entire movie on her performance, and she was given nothing to do.
Yeah. I mean, Susan Sarandon, I don't think that she's bad. You know, but it's like I had the feeling that if I were to read this script, I would be running away. There is this scene when Susan Sarandon goes to visit Catherine Deneuve, to the house when she's drinking the sherry at the beginning before she drops some wine blood on her blouse with probably like some of the hardest nipples that I ever seen in any movie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
she's
at
not
that
wearing
point,
a bra.
and at the point when she's actually just sitting, on the chair like this, with the leg like this, I was like, so is this like this very accomplished doctor that is going to be like visit a random patient and she's going to be like just pulling her leg up, around here? It's like, no, everything was like a bit cringe worthy.
See, that scene when she goes to Catherine's house for the first time, I thought it had so much potential. Like you could tell
Yeah,
Susan Sarandon was being controlled and she was being kind of slutty
yeah.
and she actually called out, "Are you making a pass at me?" Like I just found this is the moment where everything is gonna have a payoff, and then it was just so disappointing.
Yeah, no, it's look, I thought that it was bad. Sorry, I thought that it was nothing special when I watched it the first time. I didn't realize how bad it was back then. I thought it was like, yeah, this is famous, so maybe I didn't get it. It was basically the same thing as when I watched The Servant that we discussed. That is like when I watched it the first time, okay, this is good, and I realized that it was good for other reasons, not only the ones that I appreciated back then. This is the other way around. At that point, I thought it was like, this may be okay, but maybe I don't get it, and now it's like, no, this is not okay.
It's just bad. Yeah.
It's just
I was I realized that I didn't read any reviews before the film.
yeah.
And I don't know why I had this idea that it was like a cult classic and good. It was not, although the New York Times did seem to appreciate it.
But look, the interesting part is like the New York Times, for example, about the Lost Boys, can say that it's a timely piece. No, it was about the Lost Boys when they say that it's not a timeless piece, but it's a timely piece. With this one, is like it's not even that. It's like it's look, there is nothing in the aesthetic. I don't think there is like a fully accomplished 80s aesthetic because you're like just jumping around. When you actually go into the story, I don't think that there is even like congruence to what you're saying in here, and there is no like real message that I want to keep. For example, when you mention Only Lovers Left Alive, I think that them being vampires has like a higher meaning. On this case, being vampires, it doesn't matter. Honestly, it's like, oh yeah, she changes lovers from time to time. It's like, yeah, but she could actually be changing lovers every 2 years, and you could almost tell like the same story.
I also got very annoyed when Catherine Deneuve could sense that Susan Sarandon was going to be hit by a truck blocks away and somehow was able to control things. And if they had developed that, like this is one of their capabilities, sure, but it's just like, okay, you want them to be quote unquote vampires. You're not going to stick to any rules. You're not going to explore any. It was just, I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's like it doesn't do like a good job of world building.
Yes.
They could have invested, yeah, they could have invested a bit more into, okay, this is what vampires are. That's the reason why they are different from the kind of, I don't know, like other media that with vampires. But no, is it, no, this is it. I'm not going to be like calling them anything. They drink blood and they live forever.
Did you understand why when he attacked the woman on her roller skates, why
it was a woman? I thought it was a guy.
Was it a man? I don't know.
I thought it was the 80s. It was very androgynous.
Yeah. But why did he run away?
Because I thought that the guy or girl could defend themselves.
Oh,
I was saying more like, okay, yeah, I am pretty weak. It's like if I don't kill them on a single shot, it's like I'm not going to be able to do anything.
So then, after I'd watched it, I read the New York Times review, and I sent you that paragraph, and I was like, this does not describe the movie I just saw. So I went back and rewatched it.
But what part?
The thing is that she was initially looking for medical help for her partner. And that's why, and then eventually she switched from wanting medical help to wanting Susan Sarandon. And I never saw that. I saw that she was never interested in getting him help. She saw her next lover. And that's why that's what confused me so much in the New York Times, because the movie I saw, she was just getting ready to dump him and she found someone else she wanted.
I mean, I have to say that at the beginning when she goes to see her, like randomly ran into her. I think there is a bit more a fortuitous situation, on the book signature event at the library or the bookshop. Sorry, I think that at that point is very fortuitous and makes me think that she's really looking for some kind of help for him.
See, I get it, but there's this moment where she's staring at Susan Sarandon on the television, and she has there's a zoom in on her face, and clearly she's thinking something. And then when she goes to the book signing, she says absolutely nothing and clearly put her under her spell. She was never looking for medical advice from Susan Sarandon. She was seducing her.
Mm.
And
So I
that's the
have,
only thing that I didn't
yeah,
understand.
no, I could buy into that. That at the beginning, I actually bought it. When I was watching, it's like I thought that she was looking for the help, but it's like I already knew that she was going to be like just hunting her down. But I have a question for you. So, could you say that Susan Sarandon is a good actress
Um, in this performance or just in general?
in general on her career?
In general, I think she's a slightly above average actress.
Gotcha. What would you say that is her best movies?
Well, I can't name any of her movies except for The Hunger and Stepmom.
Okay, I mean, I was thinking about Thelma and Louise and Rocky Horror Picture Show, but it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show is not a good acting.
I
Let's
haven't
say.
seen either of those movies.
Oh, you never watched Thelma and Louise,
Mm-mm.
but you like Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt is in Thelma and Louise?
Yeah, of course.
I'll watch it tonight. So she was very, very good in Dead Man Walking.
Yeah.
I can't remember how she was in Bull Durham. That I would say is probably her best. And didn't she win an Oscar for that, Dead Man Walking? Or at least a nomination?
Yeah, the man walking. Yeah, I think that's the one there.
I mean,
But
she was
it's
great in Rick and Morty.
oh, she was there.
Apparently, according to her IMDb page, 2
All right.
episodes.
But the thing is, like when I was checking her career today, is like everyone knows Susan Sarandon. But at the same time, I was checking all her movies. Like there is nothing that I would say is that this was amazing.
I think she was just very mainstream and popular in the 80s and 90s.
Mm.
I'm guessing. She owns that ping pong club over on...
Spin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah.
pretty fun. We went, I think,
Oh,
on
you
the
did?
opening, and they
Oh,
had
cool.
like all these people dressed insane on roller skates and doing amazing ping pong. Anyway.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think that she co-owns it with some tech billionaire from this area.
She and that guy?
Yeah, I think that she became like just partners with that, And it's like I was reading actually some interviews with her. Is when I actually read the interview about like she didn't like the ending on this movie. That is like they felt like, oh, this watered down the result. And for me, it's like, look, it doesn't matter. I could remove this part, these 30 seconds, and the movie just end when Catherine Deneuve just fall through the stairs. I said it couldn't have changed my opinion on this movie.
Yeah, I was done by that time. It really didn't matter to me how they wrapped this piece of shit up. It was still a piece of shit.
Okay, so we score this piece of shit.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So I think that is my turn for the score this first. I'm going to give it a 3.
Oh, I was going to give it a 3.5, and that probably has to do with my biases about Tony Scott and Catherine Deneuve.
Okay, no, that's completely fair. But honestly, it's like when I started, the thing is, I had the feeling that the movie starts okay, but it's like as more as the movie progresses, and it needs to actually just build some kind of a story, some kind of narrative. It's like it falls apart. It's like no, we cannot make this.
It left me wanting in every area. There wasn't enough style to compensate me for not enough story, not enough interesting characters, no character. Anyway, we could complain about this for a long time. Super disappointment. I thought, who the hell wants to remake this movie with Jennifer Lawrence?
Probably no one.
Maybe Jim Jarmusch. He's like, let's remake Only Lovers Left Alive.
He already did that with Only Lovers Left Alive, but he did a better version. I think that movie is good. I agree with you that it has like a bit more of a, how do you say, style. And it's like
a lot more style.
And I think that recording a decrepit vampire love story in Detroit is genius.
I'm gonna watch it tonight, I think.
I think that is a really good move.
I listened to that soundtrack for like a year, and it's a weird soundtrack. A weird soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I just saw the new the Hunger remake in the works with Jennifer Lawrence and Anya Taylor-Joy.
That's the other female interest, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Is that it? I mean, it's gonna seem because they're eyeing both of them.
I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I love her. She's American-born English-Argentine actress, supposedly, according to
Yeah,
Wikipedia.
the girl from Emma and the Witch.
I would really love it if Darren Aronofsky directed this. I feel like if we brought Michelle Pfeiffer in,
I promise you, if he directs it, I would never watch it. I'm done with Aronofsky.
Jose will never forgive me for literally
for
taking
Mother.
him to the movie theater to see both Let's Be Cops and Mother!
Mother.
Exclamation point.
Yep, only its opening night at 9 p.m. I'm
To
really
be fair,
surprised.
I also took you to Nymphomaniac, so I mean, it's
You're welcome.
there were some good ones, some bad ones.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I mean it's funny because actually Aronofsky, the last movie that he did, it was Mother on 2017.
Yeah,
And there
because
is
it
nothing
ended
else.
her career and his after that.
Yeah, basically, man. It's like something to learn for future generations is they don't depict people eating and raving on the screen.
Even if you're Javier Bardem, no good can come of this.
Yeah, that may be too risky. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that no one could ever do a remake of that, but let's see.
I would love to see a remake that's super stylish with cool actors, just someone that's not as lame as David Bowie.
Sure, but it's like I mean, I think that is exactly what is his name? Jarmus was thinking. Is that I'm going to be like getting the female version of David Bowie. I'm going to be like getting Tilda Swinton.
They should just cast Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston.
Yep. It's true
and Mia Wasikowska was in that, and she was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And so was that that guy who died, unfortunately.
John Hurt.
No, the Yeltsin.
Yeltsin. Anton Yeltsin.
Anton Yeltsin. Yelchin.
Oh, he died.
Anton Yelchin.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did he die? Oh, I remember. Yeah, like a couple of years ago. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I completely forgot about him. Yeah, but it's like I had the feeling when I watched Only Lovers Left Alive, it's like I remember about The Hunger. And at that point, I remember that The Hunger was mediocre. But it's like I just still missing some kind of substance on Only Lovers Left Alive. But at least the style is there.
How would you rate on our scale of 1 to 10, a very original scale? How would you rate Only Lovers Left Alive? I know it's been a long time since you've seen it.
It has been a really long time, and it's like this movie has 7 years now. It's from 2013.
I mean, the way I remember it, I would definitely give it a solid 7.5.
I think that it would be like a 5.56 to me, because it's like I know that you appreciate way more the style over substance. For me, it's like it gets to a point that it's like, okay, that was good, but it's like I'm never going to be like watching this again.
Yeah, for me, Jim Jarmusch plus, Tilda Swinton plus, Tom Hiddleston 2 pluses.
Yeah, no, I would be more interested from this point. I can tell you, I would be like way more interested in rewatching Only Lovers Left Alive than The Hunger. I can live the rest of my life without watching The Hunger.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would never recommend this film. Did not enjoy it. So, what are we watching? Do you know?
Yeah, I know. So we are watching an opportunity for redeeming David Bowie acting career.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I hate
Yeah, I know you do, but I have to pay you back for this. So we're watching The Man Who Fell to Earth.
I don't know this movie. I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah, I heard of it, and someone told me a couple of months ago that is okay. Actually, the Metacritic score and the Rotten Tomatoes score promises significantly more with compared with The Hunger.
All right, that's fine.
And it should be on Prime Video. So
It's 2.5 hours, so yeah, it's your type of movie.
it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Thank you very much.
2 hours and 28.
No, 2 hours and 19 minutes on Prime Video. I'm just looking at it.
This is Google says 228. Anyway,
Just open. Okay, yeah. In any case, directed by Nicholas Ray. What?
Interestingly, the New York Times said it was very appreciative of his performance and said that with every film presence, he's becoming more and more interesting. And I didn't know he was ever respected as an actor. So
I think that, I don't know. I mean, I think that he's not the wrong cast for that character, but that character is untranscendental, like everything else on that movie. It's like after the first 30 minutes that you don't care about the character. You don't even think it's like, oh, is David Bowie gone? I don't want to keep watching this. It's like, no, the movie is the same shit that it was at the beginning. Nothing has changed. It hasn't become better or worse.
Was he considered a beautiful person?
He was considered a pretty person.
Because the New York Times review, I was really trying to figure out the 80s man, because he looked like he was 100 years old. Catherine Deneuve also looked like basically my mom does now, who's 55. And I was like, did people age differently? But the New York Times said, this is a world of beautiful people. And I was surprised because that doesn't come off anymore to me. David Bowie is not somebody I would put in a world where everyone is supposed to be extremely beautiful and sensual. And
he was androgynous, at that point. It was something that was a bit exactly like Tilda, And you saw like the photo shoot that they did, both of them together. Yeah. They actually were dressing like each other.
Oh, I think I remember this.
Yeah. So I think that is the time of where this was shot. Is like David Bowie felt like a bit more of an androgynous beauty, and Catherine Deneuve is presented as a bisexual vampire. So is that a perfect lover for her?
So I don't say this because I want to call out I don't find him to be a beautiful person. I find this question extremely interesting. The shifting beauty paradigms and cultural things that are culturally relevant are lost to me. And so I can't immediately, like today, oh, this person is supposed to be like a bitchy millennial, but beautiful and dumb, like things I pick up now immediately. I can't pick up from movies like The Hunger because to me, those things don't come across. So I always like to check with people who were alive at the time, like much older than me, like you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You're such a kid. Are you allowed with 20 years old to drink White Claw?
No, but my husband's of age, so he can.
I can just buy you.
Also, I'm an AARP member, so.
Oh, okay. So I just think that David Bowie is a bit more of an iconic character. So sometimes he's a bit more of a giving that he's a handsome person or a pretty person, But I never really consider him like too
I thought at
beautiful.
least I would get to see his bulge in spandex, but I didn't even get that.
Nope. So is that basically like Mick Jagger probably in performance? That he's also a very androgynous character?
Well, hopefully next week's film is better.
Hopefully, yeah. Because I pick it. Okay, man. Anything else to discuss about The Hunger?
Let's just pretend this never happened.
I'm sorry, it did. It did the same way that the greatest show on earth happened. Did you find this more or less infuriating than the greatest show on earth?
Oh, I would watch The Hunger 5 times in a row before I watched. If I had to watch one more second of that circus.
Okay, man. Okay, you don't like the circus. It's fine.
I might have looted Saks Fifth Avenue again.
Okay, that's your goal. Okay, man. Well, this was great. Talk to you next time.
Wash your hands.
Thank you so much for listening. Bye.